despite what many people think, Panoptikon has a funky techno side, which we don't like telling anyone about because it makes us feel really gay inside. Go for it, Colin.
Alright, this, it's the use of our new keyboard with its new pitch bender, which, it's just opened up a whole new opportunity, so we can do things like this. So, without any further ado, let's play it for you.
Alright. Go epic.
Alright, Colin, tell me about yourself. What's your stage name? What do you play?
Well, my stage name is Dissonant Fog, because I bring something like new to it, like fog, but it's like dissonant, okay? So like, with, like, my real name's like Colin Tidwell, okay? But like, that's not really me. I am Dissonant Fog, like, 'cause I'm part of the music, you know? Like, music is a part of me. So, like, yeah.
Okay. When did you get started into this type of music?
Well, it all happened back in 1992. Okay, it was like the opening of the main funeral doom scene. It was like we were part of it. Like, we're kind of like funeral doom, but like we're different, you know, because we got like some ambientness and some misery doom in there. So I mean, like, it all started back there, and we were all like grooving, like, we made our own style, our own pain went into the music, and like it made it amazing. And like, we have a huge following. You know, we have 40 fans on Facebook. That's incredible. Okay, like, not many bands have that. I'm just saying.
Something about your instrument, right?
This is new to Panoptikon. This is our new instrument, okay? And it's got something, it's called a pitch bender, okay? And as you can tell from its name, it bends pitch, okay? So it gives all this crazy sounds like... And like, doing stuff like that, it's like so Panoptikon, you know? It's like brings in like sort of this like new dissonant, like ignoring like all like stuff that tells you to do things with music. Like, it's crazy.
Tell me a little about yourself. What do you play and your stage name?
Alright, well, my real name is Andrew Sick, but, you know, that didn't really quite capture who I really am. So, when I'm on stage, I become Heathen Mask. And I wear a real mask. I don't have it today. Me and Colin just kind of headed over to the gym, or, you know, whatever. We gotta stay fit so we look good on stage. But, you know, we generally play in Colin's house, and his parents really just can't quite grasp the subtlety and amazing artistry that Panoptikon really embodies. We have a lot of really, really interesting influences, and yeah, I don't know, the reason I think I wear my mask on stage is because I don't want people to really see the emotion behind the music. I want them to feel it, because music is about like the feeling, not the visual. It's more of a kind of audio connection that you get with the people from the music.
How'd you get into this type of music?
Well, I remember the very founding of Panoptikon started on a bleak, rainy day on October the 4th of 1992. And I was sitting in a bar just tearing the most heart-wrenching sounds from this amazing guitar. And this guy comes up to me and he's just like, dude, we have to start a band. So I'm like thinking to myself, this could be my calling. I've been thinking about becoming a part of the world of music for the longest time. So we began as a black metal band, but black metal was lacking in a lot of, still is lacking in a lot of subtlety, and we have a lot more feel than, say, black metal would. And so we decided to join the funeral doom scene, which really allows you to put your emotion into music. And from there, we just kind of evolved, and we began creating our own sound, and then we became the phenomena that is Panoptikon.
Something about that instrument right there.
Well, this is a Dave Mustaine edition Flying V, and it is outfitted with the super slinky strings and tuned to drop C. For those of you who aren't familiar with the guitar, this string is a low C, this string is a G, this string is an octave of that string, it is another C, then this string is an F, that's an A, and that's a D. And the reason I use this tuning and these kind of strings is because it allows me to bend the notes really, really far to make that really distinctive Panoptikon sound that we call the Dying Rhino. And yeah, that's the C, the drop C allows for just playing these three notes makes a power chord, and that's a pretty useful fallback from just the high kind of melodic section.
Alright guys, can you tell me what is Panoptikon?
Well, Panoptikon is just the purest form of expression attainable with the musical instruments that we have available to us. Panoptikon is really just existential in its...
Well, the thing about Panoptikon is it's like a force of power. Okay, it rips down all like the barriers that people try and stick around music, and it just takes it and like it puts like a force of like misery into it. You know what I mean, right?
Actually, I don't know what you mean.
I think we've been perfectly clear on this one. Panoptikon is just the purest form of expression available with the musical instruments that we have been provided with. Panoptikon, in and of itself, is the perfection of music. It has no boundaries. Nothing can stop Panoptikon. It's just like Fogg said, it's a force. That's Panoptikon in a nutshell.
Okay. Can you guys give me some examples, like what Panoptikon really is?
Well, like, you know, like Panoptikon, like his role is he's sort of like the storm. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, he comes in and he's like, you know, I'm underneath that. I'm like the rain. You know what I mean? I'm like the fog underneath. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got this earthquake storm with him, and I'm like a dissonant fog, you know? Like that is what Panoptikon is. It's us. Like, yeah.
Yeah, if you would picture a dark, bleak, rainy night, and the flashes of thunder and the cascading hail that ensues would be the sounds that I produce from my guitar. But I also have a certain slow, drudging doom sound, and that I pull off with the Dying Rhinos. But Fogg's real heart in this is kind of the creeping sludge that ensues in the gutters from the rain. And it's like if that sludge became a kind of brownish orange fog. I think the best way for you to understand how Panoptikon works would be for you to see the techniques that we use as Panoptikon.
Okay. Okay, tell me tell me your musical influences for Panoptikon.
Well, personally, I would say my greatest influence is probably Meshuggah. I also really like Behemoth. I draw a lot from their brutality. And Aorta is pretty much the band that got me into music to begin with. They have a very distinctive marching quality to them. And I also really like Isis. They were really influential in my indoctrination into music.
And like for me, I'm all about like the classical stuff, you know. Like you got stuff like Penderecki. It's got like that screaming sound. It's like it's like horror. Like the sound is horrible. Like and then like Schoenberg, who's just darkness, and like they're all like that classical like sound. But then like you got things like Durgathon and Skepticism. Like they're like the first funeral doom bands. They got that like they're just amazing.
Okay, for the bands you just mentioned, what type of genre do they usually play? Like punk rock, rock?
Well, Durgathon and Skepticism are really they're like classic funeral doom. They got like the choir, they got the strings. It's like you just get like the darkness and like the sorrow, and it's got a little bit of misery influence in there, and it's just amazing. It's like this like you feel like you're at a funeral.
Okay.
And the stuff I draw from mostly, other than myself of course, would be probably Meshuggah, because they just have such a rhythmic chaos kind of, well, I'd have to say my greatest influence, other than of course myself, would be Meshuggah, because they have a very distinctive rhythmic kind of jostle to them. They use polyrhythms, and that's where several different time signatures are played simultaneously and then meet up at key points in the song, and then from there they all play in the same, usually strange time signature for a short period of time before going back into a polyrhythmic sequence. And they're really excellent at doing this, and they have a strange kind of offbeat rhythmic sound, which I personally try to imitate, but have a very difficult time doing so because they are truly geniuses. And they just get that really offbeat kind of like limping trash compactor kind of sound. But through it all, there's kind of a titanium sheen to the whole thing because there is structure. It's just very well hidden. So they're pretty influential. Behemoth, like I said before, the brutality is really helpful. Definitely Aorta, they're just unbelievably brutal. Isis as well, and they just also played a huge role in just what I personally like. So those are my personal influences.
Okay. Guys, can you like give me a demonstration of what what you guys do?
Well,
Sure.
yeah, like, I mean, with what I do, I like to find like a really like cool like, you know, it's just amazing, and like, you know, you find that and then you just bend it up like, and, you know, and then that gives it that awesome thing, and then like with my left hand, I got something called auto accompaniment. Now, auto accompaniment is where the song will play itself, basically. So you get like a chord like this, and like it gives it a super dark sound, so you get something like, you know, but then like that's not really Panoptikon, because there's no real sludge to that. So you slow it down to like, and like that gives it that Panoptikon like drone influence. And like, now how, you know, you use some like Schoenberg methods like, and you just go to bass and you let that chill out there, you know, it's like, and then you stick in like a new chord, like this chord, like,
Very good at building tension that way.
Like that's really what I do during the song while Andrew's like going nuts, and like I'll throw some bends like that. So that's really my role in Panoptikon. That's like the basics. That's like the structure underneath Panoptikon.
Okay.
Yes, and I have a wide array of techniques which I've perfected through years of guitar playing and a lot of time in pen. Well, I use a wide array of techniques. The first one called the Dying Rhino. These techniques aren't particularly difficult, but to place them well takes a lot of knowledge of music. So the Dying Rhino, you simply take a note, and then you bend that note as high up the fretboard as you can, slowly, and then you bend it back down. And that's the Dying Rhino. Then there's also babbling, where you just randomly hit the strings, and it creates that just pebbles in a blender kind of sound. And let's see what else. Of course, there's the simple rhythmic chords where you just strike a You also might want to throw in a diminished chord. This uses the devil's interval. Very Panoptikon chord. I use that in a lot of songs where I'm trying to create a kind of terrorized mood. And then there's also just generally the Panoptikon solo would just take notes that don't go together and stick them together. So a seemingly random sequence of notes. So and then there's also the echo chord, which is where you take a power chord and instead of striking it, you just tap with your fingers several times. And that's also a very Panoptikon technique.
Tell me a little about yourself.
My name is Jack. I consider myself the average Panoptikon fan. Us fans, Panoptikon is, and more about what Panoptikon isn't. Because, to me, I think Panoptikon is not a thing. It's like a... So the thing about Panoptikon is they're not so much that they're a thing, but they're a giant not thing.
So how'd you get into Panoptikon?
Well, so much of the music today is it's so ugly. And, it's hard to find beauty in the world, I think. And, with Panoptikon, that's what they are. They are just that beauty, which I think is lacking, in stuff like, rap music or, punk rock or whatever, I mean, just listening to, like, a song like Unequal Gaze, it feels so, it's like you just imagine a field with flowers, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Okay, so tell me, how has Panoptikon changed your life?
Well, I mean, recently actually, I had a girlfriend who, she didn't like Panoptikon. And so, this has been a problem for a while, we had moved in together and stuff, and it was too big of a problem in our relationship because, if you don't like Panoptikon, you don't like me, I felt like her saying no to Panoptikon was her saying no to me and my soul. So, I mean, I had to break up with her. I had to break it off. And, that's how I feel, I think everyone who likes Panoptikon, I think unless it becomes inside of you and you have that nothingness, which is Panoptikon, in your head and in your eyeballs, I don't think that you really are a fan. I think you're just a poser.
In conclusion, Panoptikon also has a strange, eccentric side to them. This is just to get you in on Panoptikon's whole creative process.